Everton sacked manager Frank Lampard on Monday, January 23rd, after a poor run of form that has left out the Premier League club in a relegation battle. Lampard's last game in charge was Saturday's 2-0 defeat at West Ham United, which kept them second bottom of the table on 15 points after 20 games, 2 points below the safety zone. The Merseyside team had been struggling under the former England international, having last won a league game in October when they beat Crystal Palace 3-0 at home. Lampard was appointed by Everton in January 2022 after he managed Chelsea from 2019 to 2021 and Derby County in the second tier in 2018 to 2019. The 44-year-old was sacked as Chelsea manager in January 2021, having returned to West London, where he holds the goal-scoring record for Chelsea. He took over at Everton after the Merseyside club parted ways with Rafa Benitez, continuing the managerial revolving door at a club struggling to revive former glories. Everton next host leaders Arsenal on February 4th, followed by the Merseyside Derby at Liverpool on February 13th. I wonder if we have Seun Ajidagba on the line again. Seun?
Well, I'm back on the line.
Thank you.
Yeah.
First of all, before we talk about this, before we talk about the previous story, let's quickly delve into this Lampard's story. He walks away from a club that, for the longest time now, it seems, they've been unable to respark the flame of the winning mentality that used to be associated with Everton. There was a time, particularly under David Moyes, who is having his own struggles with West Ham, came very close to playing in the Champions League. Now, Everton are on the lookout for another manager. And it seems to me like if one manager fails and another manager fails, perhaps this problem is beyond the managerial control of records, of scores and results. What do you make of this story, Everton sacking Lampard?
Well, Michael, sorry to say this. I struggle to hear you. Maybe from the production place, the noise is overshadowing the question you're asking me. Maybe they need to bring it down a bit. But if I hear you clearly, you're talking about how David Moyes was able to galvanize this Everton side as compared to what we are seeing from Frank Lampard and all of that.
Yes.
To be honest, you can't blame Farhad Moshiri for telling Frank Lampard to go. This is business, and they don't want to go down the route that some other clubs went, which is finding themselves in the championship, and from the championship they went to Ligue 1 and League 2. Take for instance a club like Portsmouth. Since they went on relegation, they found it difficult to return to the Premier League. They've been implementing. Look at Leeds United. It took them about 15 years to return to the Premier League. So not all clubs will go down relegation and almost immediately get promoted. So this route that Frank Lampard is taking Everton to before he was sacked is not the best.
But regarding the situation at Everton, it seems like the fans mostly blame the ownership rather than the manager. And I hope you can hear me clearly when I say this.
Yes, I can.
I cannot say for certain that Frank Lampard is a terrible manager. He's incapable of doing great things with a club, even a club the stature of Everton, even a club like Everton going through the woes that they're going through currently. But it seems like they've been on a downward spiral for a while, and there is nothing about Everton that is sparkling, that is exciting. The players like Demarai Gray don't seem to be sparking the kind of joy and enthusiasm as they used to for the Toffees. Surely with the fans also choosing to blame the ownership. Is there not some blame there objectively for the ownership in properly investing in a club that has been a staple in the Premier League for more than a decade now?
Yes, they've overspent. There was a time, I think some 2, 3 seasons ago, where they spent about £150 million just buying everybody that they see, including Mikel and anybody that they see on the road. But it's about investing in the right players. This season also, they've gone to do same, brought Onana, brought Konokodi, brought all the likes. But the reality on ground is that the man Frank Lampard took over from had 19 games, won 5, drew 4, and lost 10. Had 19 points. So his points per game was about 1.00. As against Frank Lampard, who played 38 games, won 9, drew 8, and lost 21, and amassed 35 points. And he has a point per game of 0.92. In actual fact, in percentage, is about 27%. That's terrible. That's even below 40. In any exam, 40 means pass. So based on how they are going, they felt they needed to do something and do it very quickly.
What does this say for Lampard's future in the game? This is his second team in the Premier League. With the Chelsea situation, a lot of people gave him a pass because he guided Chelsea through a very difficult period of not being able to buy players. And when they did buy certain players, so, one particular player proved to be not living up to the expectations that the manager, the club, and the fans had for him, which would have changed the fortunes of the club. That player is out of the squad now. He's gone back to where he came from. But now this with Everton, what does this say about the pedigree of Lampard and the possibility of him getting another job in the Premier League?
Well, he should not go for another job now in the Premier League. But if there's any song I love the most, it's sung by Right Fresh Said, Stand Up for the Champion, that popular song. But the particular aspect I love the most is when I fall down, I have to pick myself back up. To be honest, he did excellently well at Derby County, and that was a championship team. In that place, he even had a win of 2.1%. Even at Chelsea, that we felt didn't really do well. Don't forget that he qualified them for Champions League, but unfortunately they could not buy because of the transfer ban that they were imposed upon. And when the season went and it was available for him to buy, he didn't really get the team going until Thomas Tuchel took over and went on to win the Champions League for them. And even in Chelsea, he still had a win percentage of 52.4. So what I expect Frank Lampard to do now is he still has love for coaching. Maybe he should go back to punditry for a while and come back to a championship team and finally build his way back up. I don't think he should hurriedly get into any EPL team for now. Maybe he should go back to punditry, do a bit of introspective look about what has happened to him in recent times, and then gradually come back before he can climb his way to the top. Look at Carlo Ancelotti. Ancelotti also went to Everton and showed the flying colours after leaving PSG. So now we are talking about Ancelotti as one of those top coaches. We know he has the ability, but in Everton, his career was almost going to be ruined. And Mikel, finally on this matter, clubs must identify their strengths. When you play a certain brand of football, people almost immediately want to say, oh, let's start playing exciting football. When David Moyes was there, he was mix-matching their style. Sometimes they go dirty and sometimes they try to play expressive football. He knew the strength of these players. A club like Stoke City, those days of Tony Pulis, they were playing jam-body football, bad goals, and it was helping them stay in the Premier League. Guess what? All of a sudden, the owners of the club said, let's start playing expansive football. Went to go and bring in Mark Hughes, and they started signing players that could not fit into the style that the club was known for. They got relegated. They've been finding it difficult to get back to the Premier League. So as a club, you must understand the style that suits the kind of players that you have.
Do you believe that newer managers now have an inflexibility to be pragmatic, the way managers like Mourinho, Conte, Ancelotti have proven themselves to be able to do when the chips are down, the players aren't really being their most creative, and they are able to bring them to a point where they dig in, backs against the world is against them, and find their way through those difficult moments. Are managers now too stuck on their own stylistic systems that they are trying to impose?
I agree with you 200%. You must know, see, to play a particular style, you must have players that will play that style. I remember Antonio Conte, when he came to the Premier League from Juventus, the game that turned around the fortune of Chelsea that season was the 3-0 loss to Arsenal. And guess what? He had to revert to 3-5-2, which was a formation he was playing in Juventus. And that was where you saw our own Victor Moses operating as what we call a flying wing back. And they were playing that style, and they went on to win the Premier League. So you must identify that this kind of player, and I want to play this kind of can they do it? If they can't do it, don't go and try it. There is something that is trending now, and I think it's bandwagon, where coaches will tell goalkeepers, you must build from the back. They are making so much mistake. The question is, that goalkeeper, does he have the ability to play from the back? Because a goalkeeper that you want to play from the back must be somebody who can also operate as an outfield player, can use the legs. But if a goalkeeper that can send the ball outside and you are telling him to build from the back, it will cost the goalkeeper and it will cost the team.
All right,
so you must identify the squad before you tell them to play a particular style.
All right, Sean, let's move on to the next story. But before we do that, quickly, what is going on in the PFL Nigerian League right now that is bringing about clubs requesting for fixture changes, rearrangements, and rescheduling? What's going on?
I don't want that. Please, we have set the league to start and end in a particular month. All we are trying to do is to align with European calendar. And the only way we could achieve that was through this abridged league. And that's why Honorable Benga said, let's have an abridged league. After the abridged league, we'll have what we call a Super Six. And that Super Six is there, we'll now decide who eventually wins the league. So when you are talking about having a fixture change, we should start changing the fixture. It means that we are looking for elongation. And one of the many issues I have with these club administrators, because my colleague, if you say that, it means you don't understand English. We call these guys club owners. They are not club owners because they are custodians of these people. They only kept them there to monitor things. So these club administrators.
Sean, unfortunately, we've lost Sean there.